Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and talking a little bit about AMD just kicking into gear. And maybe I do one of these for NVIDIA and Intel. I don't know what I'll say for the NVIDIA one besides they're just kicking it into AI gear. But for AMD, right, there is a market opportunity here because it looks like NVIDIA is just trying to leave gamers behind. Not maybe consciously, who knows? But you see where NVIDIA is kind of going, and it's to AI, right? They had cars before, and they're trying to push the car thing. Then they had cryptocurrency, and now they have AI. Who knows where all this goes, but AMD's AI stuff is not quite there. I think their AI, their AI Summit or whatever they're having is close. So I'm really interested to see what AMD comes out with there. And to see, I was going to cover NVIDIA's thing, but I couldn't get over Jensen's funniness with stuff. But getting back to AMD here, once their AI, we'll talk about a little bit more about AI. I find that stuff very fascinating. I think it's everyone thinks more of it's artificial intelligence. I think of it as assistive intelligence. So slightly different, but I think a lot of this stuff is going to be a lot assistive to many things out there. Um, and I do think that AMD has ideas to go into each market. Now, capitalizing on those is where AMD really needs to kick it into gear. Let's start off with the graphics side of things, right? AMD, right, needs to really push the price and for what performance it is. The 7600 I think is too expensive. That should have been at 250 or below. And the 7900 XT, that should have been down in the 650 range, and probably 7900 XTX probably dropped that down into 850, 800, 850. So, you would have got those cars a lot further down. You would have marketed them better. And since AMD screwed up on the naming of those, because the 7900 should have been the 7800 XT and the 7800 XTX, because what AMD is kind of doing is creating this environment where the 90 series from NVIDIA is going to be faster and you should be comparing the 80 series on NVIDIA with AMD's 900 series, and I don't know if AMD is doing this, consciously thinking about, oh, we're going to be just the mindset of what people have going forward is going to be marketing our cards not in the best light against NVIDIA cards. They're going to be always a drop down. They're going to be against the 80 series instead of the 90 series, where we want to be competing against the 90 series. So that's kind of where they should have been in all along, and realize that you line those up even if you didn't have a card fill the spot. AMD, by the way, has already done this. They have already, in the 5000 series, came out the 5700 and nothing higher. So they know that they're capable of just naming it right, but maybe it's marketing, maybe it's somebody higher up. You are screwing up ideas and perception of your brand based upon what marketing is doing. And some things probably need to change there significantly in the marketing side. You should always under promise and over deliver. AMD, you were doing that with Zen. Intel, Zen 4, the 7000 series, where you really screwed that up again, where you overpromised and underdelivered, and got it looked bad in the reviews, right? People kind of said, what is wrong, right? Then you did the whole fiasco with the X3D, where you reached the 7900X and the 7950X 3D chips a month before the 7800 X3D. That needs to stop. You just need to release them. I get that you want to release a month, but release that batch of X3D altogether. Release the batch of processors altogether. Release, I guess, graphics cards. NVIDIA's got its standard where you just slow roll it out for months. I really wish that it was a little bit quicker, but we'll see. Maybe AMD is going to go to like a yearly cadence for GPUs, and you're going to make that benefit. Now, if they do that, I have to say then the Radeon group is actually getting into gear. But the Radeon group needs to get into gear. I don't know what they need to do there. Their marketing team is not good. We all know that. But the driver side, everything else, right? They're going to be what this, what is it? Um, what is it? Hyper RX. I'm trying to remember this. They're saying, yeah, it's going to be the first half of the year. Well, we got less than a month. What do we got? 20 days ish, just over 20 days. So they got to get that out, right? They have the RSR 3.0 that's supposed to be coming out with that, what is it, the frame rate generation stuff. These are all things that they need to start hitting on. They need to kick it into gear in there, get their drivers, keep pushing their drivers, get those more hardened, more readily, conquer these bugs. If they can use AI to really get these drivers honed in. By the way, there's a patent on that. I can't remember who tweeted that out or had that. Maybe that was on video cards as well that I was looking. But there's a patent out how to use AI to help with the drivers and everything else. And if they can start honing that stuff in, I think that there's a great opportunity here for AMD, at least in the gaming side. NVIDIA does look like they probably left off their foot off the gaming side a little bit. They're just going to develop really good cards. Granted, their enterprise customers pay more, but at the same time, if you were able to get a lot of these cards more into people's hands, AMD at a lower level, people might start developing for more, because you're looking at guys like me that do software development on their machine too, do a little bit of gaming, and wish I had more time for gaming, and can be program on that card. Now, if you have that opportunity, then people are going to look at your stack more and not just go to NVIDIA software stack, which is quite polished, right? And these are some things that AMD can do to really kind of increase their capabilities of what they're capable of. And time will tell to see how this all rolls out. But just kicking it into gear and making sure that they're able to kind of put these silos together, because eventually AMD is going to have, kind of Xilinx IP, Radeon IP, and their CPU IP all in one chip. And if you have this all in one chip and you have a software stack that you're able to develop, able to run AI, able to help, accelerate commands with using everything and game, you have that opportunity here to really kind of crush it, AMD. But you got to have that. You got to have the whole stack, and you can't keep doing this and pulling things and last minute changes to prices on graphics cards with reviewers and everything else. That stuff kind of just smells to high heaven, as you're not running something that you're really confident in, right? You had to drop the price of the 7600 because it was a bad price to begin with. It's still a bad price, and it should be lower. You should have came in at 250, been confident about it, and not had to tell the reviewers to go out later. You would have sold more GPUs. Yes, they could be selling well right now, but the perception would have been, because then nobody would have said something, right, during the reviews. The perception then would have been that, hey, this came at 250. This is, the 4060 Ti review had just came out, and the 4060, I believe, too. So you would have been like, this would have been in the card, been like, yeah, this price right now is a good one to go get. Let's go. I recommend it. It's not something I feel like it's going to drop within a month. And when people in the reviews are saying you should wait a month before you go out and buy it because there's a new graphics card, the 4060, that's going to be out then, that's not a good sign, AMD. That's something where you need to address that and make sure that doesn't happen again. And, I don't know if Lisa needs to be more hands-on in this situation, but something needs to actually be done to be able to iron this out. And this is what I mean, AMD can kick it into gear, because there's a lot of different areas, but I feel like if they kicked into the gear, they can capitalize on some of these areas. They may not get to 50-50. I love to see a Halo product, and I think that they should have Halo products every single generation for every single one of their products. But at the same time, and just realize that as the entire business group, that is making money and has a good margin. Your low-end products, I hope that AMD is starting to take some haircuts on their margins And for some reason they want in their earnings, hey, a higher margin every year, every quarter, whatever else. I think that that's getting kind of ridiculous. At some point, I get you want your stock price to go up, but at some point you're going to have to realize that that's going to start pricing everybody else out of the market for your, cards, CPUs, whatever else, even on the business side. And so if you can really capitalize on, the group having a somewhat decent but still push these cars, I think you have a great opportunity here. Last gen is still just a price to performance really good option. I saw in video cards today that the 60 RX 6800 16 gig is now 399 euro, and it's faster than a 4060 Ti. That's a great option, but you should have really kind of dropped those and pushed out and cleared out that inventory, and then ran in your new 7000 series and got ready for that 8000 series, right? The AMD messed up so bad on the Ryzen 9 7900 and X3D and the 7950 X3D that the X3D now is $601. It's dropped there for price. And so these are things that I hope that AMD kind of realizes and say going forward, we may be shooting for this moon for these next architectures so the 8000 series CPUs and the 8000 series GPUs. But we have to come underneath come underneath and be controlled with our marketing, get these under promise on these products, and make sure that we hit the um, the narrative side of things, that when they come out, people um, are saying good things about them because of what they're capable of and because of what we've done software wise. The next generation RDNA 4, the Zen 5 stuff. These are all things that people are looking forward to because of what we're able to accomplish with these products. They have a lot of opportunity. I mean, my wife is getting a framework laptop later this year, and that's going to have the AMD Ryzen 7040 series. So you got those, what are the Xilinx um, threads is what they're calling them in there. So these are opportunities as you build out the stack that you have to take capable of. I just think that if they were to push it a little bit, they have a huge opportunity to capitalize on market share, be able to get into some of these markets and entrench, which in turn you can buy more, wafers to be able to service all these products hopefully and go forward. It looks like AMD's been more diverse from TSMC's on more than just one node. And, as things go forward, they have the councils and everything else. I think people will be happy to have this competition in these areas, especially on the graphics side, to be able to have a choice finally. And so that's just some of my thoughts. I know I've been rambling on, but just kicking into gear, AMD has you have this ability with how you're building out your stack to be very successful. Yes, you're a little bit behind on AI. Yes, Intel still has that single threading just command, but you're stacking different technology with the chiplets, and hopefully you have GPU chiplets kind of working in Radeon 4. I don't know, I haven't heard too much in the rumor mill about what's going on there, but if you bite these off and you get them there, I think that you have a really big opportunity to take some market share, to be able to be established. And one reason why NVIDIA has such great market share was because their products were untouchable for so long, and they had just a commanding lead. Intel had the same thing. People forget this. Intel had the same thing of being entrenched and being on top of the world and having, everything on a platter to them because there was no competition from AMD. And finally, from the CPU side, they hit it. But their GPU side just doesn't have the same oomph yet. And they also are dealing with NVIDIA, which is NVIDIA does not want to give up their lead. That's one thing that NVIDIA does not want to do. So they were trying to stay ahead. But you were able to do that, right? And you were able to chip away. You also didn't pull off some of these stupid mistakes and be too full of yourself before you got there, right? You first have to get there, AMD, like you did with the CPUs. You made your name known, and you keep chipping off market share, especially in the desktop and gaming space. Well, you got to do that first with prices and uniqueness. more cores, faster in multi-threading. That's kind of some things that you did for that first Zen product. Once you, and the second one, iteration, everything else, you get that going, AMD, and guess what happens when you come out then with your next gen? You can, command a little bit higher price and everything else because you're established after a couple, one or two generations, or one or two, maybe two generations and a half generation. You were able to go out there and say, we are able to do this, and we're able to establish ourselves as a major player in the market, not something that we're trying to, get business and, just grow in and try to show everybody we're back and we're actually playing in this market. So those are a couple of my things here, and sorry for rambling a little bit too long, but hopefully you guys leave some comments below, because I want to hear what you guys are also thinking about what AMD can do. And maybe I'll do one of these for Intel and NVIDIA as well, because for Intel, I talk about kicking into gear. They have some major stuff they need to kick into gear. I think that they're be okay, but I'm saying that with a question mark. So, yeah. So with that, I do want to say thank you. Leave your comments below. I'm excited to hear what you guys think about this as well. You'll see behind me, I got my shelves back and everything's pretty much painted now. I got some finishing touches, but to do and to be able to clean this up. But I'm glad I finally got my basement all painted and getting that back put together. You can't see right now, but eventually I'll do a drop ceiling and stuff. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, but want to give you a quick update here too. And until next time, I want to say thank you guys for watching, supporting the channel, and helping grow. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, God bless.